Hello, Yu-Gi-Oh tubers. This is J Buzzsaw 79. Another deck profile for you. I thought it would be amusing to do two particular decks here back to back. The reason why is because, well, they're both water decks, and we just hit May, so as it goes, April showers, May flowers, kind of thing. So I was going to do them beginning of the month of April, but well, I failed. So I'm going to do them now, and we can get right into it here. The first one here is well, it's the result of April, we could say. It's 3 flip-flop frogs in there to start out with. I like flip-flop. Return monsters equal number of frogs that are out. With this particular deck, it's an actual wetlands deck. And for wetlands, frogs are pretty darn good, obviously, because it's kind of made for them. But you know, at some points, people, depending on what you have out and what you're doing for the stall technique, because I think it has to run stall. You can sit there and go ahead with the flip flop a couple different times. Even getting one flip flop off, you know, they got, like, let's say, you know, as an example, you buy yourself a turn after you set flip flop and you have like 2 other frogs out, you flip, you return both of their aces to your hand, or even one other frog returned to your hand. Gosh, you've essentially cleared the field. They need to push back to resummon. So yeah, I run 3 flip flops because I think they're pretty good. Next up, I do run 3 dupe. Dupe frog. The main thing you got to know basically about dupe is that when he is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add a frog from your deck or graveyard to hand, and just can't be him or Death Frog, I believe. So again, really good guy. Really like him a lot. A good wall at 2,000 defense. 3 submarine frog. Some people don't like running him, even in wetlands. But you know, really, why wouldn't you? First of all, you put wetlands out with him, he's 1,200 more. So you've got a 24 piercer with just the wetlands on him. Not to mention another variant build I had originally. I was actually running the little aqua guy. I can't remember his name there. Starboy. I was Starboy with him, and then that would give him another 500. Now there's 2,700 with piercing. And then you can play. Gosh, I think another one I played with him. Some people have seen, I guess, I play Mage Power. You throw Mage Power on him. I mean, just why you would not play 3 of him, I don't understand. I believe he is too good, especially in any kind of variant of wetlands, not to play him at 3. There's so many ways to power him up. People throw stuff in defense, you don't care, because generally you can run it over anyway, and you're still taking damage. And once you get people setting stuff in defense, and you pierce it, then they don't really know what to do, because they can't play it upright in attack mode, because you'll run it over, and then you don't want to set it, because you run it over again, they still take damage. So at that point, I think people become really flustered at him. And if anything, it becomes one hell of a target, and they start targeting to try to get rid of him. So I like to run 3 of him. 2, 3, Unifrog. Unifrog I like as a direct attacker. By himself even. He's a MST every turn. Most people will either A, ignore him, or B, waste like Fiendish Chain on him to just because they don't want to have the constant destruction going on with his effect. So that's okay. If they don't deal with him and let him come in too, you throw Wetlands behind him. Now he's a 1600 direct attacker. Pretty darn good. So the other one that's a direct attacker I run with him is Ice Barrier. Now Dewdark is the only Ice Barrier I run. I've seen people run other Ice Barrier variations with Wetlands. They're okay. It just doesn't do it for me. I think he is probably the best one, and you know, who knows, maybe I'll change my mind here. What to do more testing with this deck. But as of right now, yeah, I just like him. I run 3 Penguin Soldiers because it's freaking Penguin Soldier. Penguin Soldier himself can basically suck 3 monsters away. The opponent gets 3 monsters out, throw Penguin Soldier face down, you know, they attack into it, he absorbs that attack first of all, bounces the other 2. I mean, that's pretty darn good right there. Some people have told me they think it's overkill with 3 flip-flop and 3 Penguin Soldiers. I don't. The deck is built with a bunch of basic weenie monsters and the Wetlands. If they take away Wetlands, you're not going to be stronger than anybody. But with the return effects that you have present with the flip-flop and Penguin Soldier, you keep the field clean at least. If you keep the monsters off the field, suddenly at 950, you know, attacking, and like, you know, 500, that's 1450. Yeah, it doesn't sound like much, but you know, if you're returning Igzies and Synchros and things like that, they don't have monster presence either. They have to go dig into the grave or push plays from their hand, basically to come off of this little wiener monster that's sitting there, you know, returned everything. The other nice thing too, people set up for stuff, which has happened with me a couple times. I've set Penguin Soldier, you know, and bought a turn for myself. They told me to go with Penguin Soldier, return your 2 monsters, attack 1950. Again, there's, you know, a lot of things that can happen off that. I do have some tech I threw in here in the form of, I don't know if I can say this right, Testu Eret Numan. Yeah, we'll go with that. Numerman, whatever. Neither player can special summon monsters with 1800 or more attack. So basically at that point it forces your opponent into trying to kill him. He has a huge defense and no attack, but if you get him out, get him a defense, and then protect him for a little bit, yeah, I mean, suddenly they can't put out Igzies and Synchros and all that, and you know, you can sit there and get sort of a weird lock on them, like if you get Penguin Soldier out of flip-flop, just keep returning stuff and beating them down with little stuff even, is, you know, eventually damage is damage, and you know, yours will add up to a victory. I mean, it's annoying and it pings them and they'll complain to you about it and tell you how horrible a person you are because you play this kind of a thing, but yeah, I mean, if you can stop them from special summoning all the big stuff with him, why not? Spells, we're going to move the spells at this point then. But of course you run the Dark Hole because we can, we have to, kind of thing. I do run 1 salvage, just in case I get something in there. I'm thinking about trying to add a 2nd salvage, just because it gives me a little bit more of the ability to pull things out when I need them. You know, I mean, if I really need a Penguin Soldier, I will grab it back out, add it to my hand, and then set it. I mean, flip-flop or anything like that. So yeah. Good clock. Anyway, terraforming, search for field spells. So basically gives you another chance to get that Wetlands out right away. 3 Wetlands, as I already said, because it's really good. I do run a single book, because if you watch all the other videos or have heard me so far, I really like book. I would run at least 2 books for Konami. Just saying. The versatility of the book, it's too good, and I think that I really don't understand why the actual book is restricted anymore. I think it should be semi or completely off. Personally, it's a good card, but it's not that good of a card. I mean, suppose you're sitting there and you're like, I flipped your monster down a book. Okay, we can't execute that turn. You buy yourself a turn. If they're going to target something like with Fiendish and you book it, yeah, but you can't use your monster that turn. They give them ways to respond to it. So I mean, it's good. It's just not that good to me. The book needs to be fully restricted. But we can argue that later, because that'd be fun. I am running 2 more Rays of Greed right now for any kind of draw. I just don't have the room for other things. And I like Moray, and you put 2 monsters back in and you draw 3 cards. I mean, basically it's a +0 card. So essentially you're just basically shuffling your deck and, drawing off it. So as a +0, yeah. I am running also then for spells 2 swords again, a little more of a stall, because if I can get my board set and flip, get like the 2, 3 frogs out there, or penguin soldier or something, you get swords out on you, you don't do nothing. Flip up, bounce all the monsters, get them off the field, and start swinging back. This deck can, with a decent set board, get OTK quite easily. And even if I don't OTK and push that way, if I get those direct attackers running out there with the wetlands underneath them, I mean, at that point then it's, if I get both of them out, gosh, it's like 4,000 a turn, direct attacks. And so, the last thing I added in for me to try was another tech choice just to get a better increase. I took out, as I already said earlier, the Starboy. I replaced it with Solidarity. Yeah, Starboy gave me another monster, but with the Solidarity, if you going back to the submarine frog, the wetlands out is 24. You drop Solidarity, is 32. Yeah, I mean that's a bigger than Blue Eyes Piercer. I mean that frog will come up and rape Blue Eyes' face and laugh about it. I mean that's awesome. So moving on to traps. The 1 torrential, 1 compulse, 1 bottomless. Another one up for me is the Wall of Revealing Light. Some people believe the bad card, especially with the format where people run 3 MSTs and there's all these other cards, but realistically, played at the right moment is huge, because somebody's sitting there and they're pushing, they're like, oh, I'm gonna attack. You activate, you spend the 3, like usually about $3 grand I spend. That stops so much from attacking you. I mean, not unless you're playing other power-ups or, really huge things. That single Wall of Revealing Light just shuts down so many monsters from coming in. It's ridiculous. It's expensive at 3,000, but it really helps so much. And again, if you're setting up a board and they push, and you throw Wall of Revealing Light and say 3,000, your next turn you flip up your stuff, return it, and swing back. Surprises a lot of people, which is really fun. Last card I run is 2 Argus of the Ocean Lord. For several reasons. One, your opponent plays torrential too, and a bad time when you're flipping everything up and you're trying to go off, or if I summon one next to the frog and I'm going to flip, they're going to torrential, so at that point you chain the Ocean Lord off, protect your little weenie frog guys then, and go from there. So with your opponent playing a lot of destruction cards, I mean even Mirror Force, or things like that. So many destruction cards. I don't know why I wouldn't play this. One thing I have done in the past, which is always fun for me, if I'm rolling, it's my turn. I'll play Dark Hole, chain this to it, or summon another frog and chain this to Torrential. I wipe off their whole field and swing back for game. All my stuff is protected. So that's a really good card. Again, I only run 2 because I want it to be consistent. But yeah, well, there you go. That is my Wetland Frog deck. Thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you don't. Comments on there, that's fine. And if you want to subscribe, I'm appreciative of those that do. If not, that's fine too. Alright, well, have a good day, and stay tuned for more deck profiles as always.